Hi my lovelies, welcome back to my channel, and for everybody who's new, I'm Leorah and I'm so glad you found me. So welcome to today's video where I am going to give you my first impression of this palette. This is the Desert Skies palette from Lurella Cosmetics, and this is sort of super cool because it is a first impression of the brand Lurella Cosmetics, but it also is not. Because if you've been here for a while, you might know that I actually do own the Glaze palette from Lurella Cosmetics, which is an all glitter palette. I don't remember how many shades, it might be 30, it might be a little bit less, but it is quite a big all glitter palette with pressed glitters, which is amazing if you like pressed glitters. And this is basically my first impression of a normal eyeshadow formula, and this is how the palette looks. It comes in a sleeve, which is exactly the way the palette is, and you have the ingredients on the back, and this is how the palette looks. Ta-dam, ta-dam. It is a little bit worked on already, so you will see some fallout in the palette. But anyway, so this is how the palette looks, the Desert Skies palette. And maybe you remember, because this is quite a new release, this has been one of my favorites in the week where I spoke about this in my new makeup releases, because I was like, wow, the execution of this palette is so cool. Now I live pretty close to the desert, at the edge of the Judean desert in Israel, and you know, I kind of really relate to this, and it is so cool, and I fell in love with this. And one of my besties saw this and she was like, okay Leorah, you're getting this palette, you know. So that is so cool, also because one of my besties bought me this one, and Christine, who used to be a huge supporter of my channel, she actually gifted me the Glaze palette. So yeah, I've been blessed with Lurella in my life by a lot of my besties, you know. So anyway, this is what it is, and this is my first impression, of course, of that palette, and I'm super excited to share stuff with you because I'm talking about stuff in my video. Really, you know, right now I don't even know. I just know that I spoke about babies. That's all I remember. The rest I will remember once I'm editing, sweeties. So yeah, I hope you're all excited for this video. So of course we're going to jump right in. You're going to see me create this look. You're going to see the swatches of this palette. And at the end, of course, as always, we are going to meet here again for the review part of this palette. So if you like it here, sweetie, if you've just found me, then please, of course, check out my social media, which is linked in the description box. Check out my channel so you see what I'm all about, what I'm doing here. And if you like it here, then please subscribe to my channel before we go into the video, because otherwise you might forget, and that would be a shame, because it would just be awesome to spend this journey here together. Besides that, this is a good positive place of like real good OG YouTube content, which you barely find anymore in this platform, you know. So seriously, it would be just really great to be together. Besides that, also I should point out that I'm wearing also a lippy from Lurella Cosmetics, which they threw in, and I also have another one which they threw in together with the Glaze palette, which I do believe is the shade Single, which is also one of my most favorite lippies. Seriously, they make super nice lippies, just saying, you know. So yeah, this is super sparkly, like really, this is like glitter on your lips. But also about that I'm going to speak in the review part at the end of the video. So with all of that being said, super long speech, but now let's go back in time to my pajama time and let's rock this makeup. Okay, sweeties, good morning. It's early as always and we're of course working with this beautiful palette from Lurella Cosmetics, and I am using the Perfect Prime eyeshadow primer from Be Perfect Cosmetics, just so you know. Okay, I want this to be dark. I need this to be dark today. So let's do it, sweeties. Let's do it. I think I'm going to try to use a tradition shade. Yeah, I'm going to use a transition shade today, I think. And I'm going to go in with this one right here, and then maybe deepen it up with this one, and then do this. You know, I'm a bit scared to do immediately this because, you know, it just doesn't feel like I want to do that today. So let's see how they build on top of each other. That is always also, of course, a very interesting point, you know. And sometimes I cannot tell you, because sometimes I don't do much building. So today I'm going to try to see what this is all about. It is super interesting, and I probably mentioned this in the intro already, that basically I have a palette from Lurella Cosmetics. I have the glaze palette, but that palette is all glitter. So it is really kind of a first impression of the brand, because the glitter palette was good. But of course, eyeshadow is way more interesting for me than glitter, while I do, of course, love glitter. But I'm really interested in finding out how the eyeshadow formula is. Anyway, so yeah, that is basically what I'm doing. I'm going in with a little bit of a careful attitude, let's put it that way, because of not knowing how the formula is. But so far so good. It feels good. All right, sweeties, I wanted to tell you something, because yesterday I went somewhere with my husband in the evening, and I saw a mom, which is not unusual because I'm a mom many times over myself, so that is not something super special. But we were sitting somewhere and talking to someone, and there was a person there sitting close by, and she was nursing a baby. So and she was nursing it under a canopy, under a nursing canopy, and that was so sweet, because the only thing you saw of the baby, I mean, you knew that it was a baby under there and not like a lapdog or something. But the funny or the cutest thing was that basically the naked feet were sticking out from under the canopy, and it was the cutest thing, and I could not look at this, you know, these cute chubby baby feet, and I was like, ah, hold me tight. Leorah is gonna want to get pregnant, you know. Yeah. Oh dear Lord, that was so adorable. And as it turns out, I always love to nurse, and I love to be pregnant. I mean, obviously, because I was pregnant 5 times and I gave birth to 7 children, so obviously I liked it. Nobody forced me towards that, right? So I'm like, oh, is that adorable? Is that adorable? And of course, while I am perfectly aware of the fact that those cute little amazing moments where you just enjoy are very few and far in between, because most of the time it's work and it's work and it's more work, and it is not sleeping, and it is being stressed out, and it's being a human being that struggles, you know, with whatever has been put on you, especially when you have more than one. But I have to say honestly that in a lot of ways I was more stressed out when I only had one than when I started to have more kids, because seriously, a lot of things fall into place when you don't have time for stuff anymore, you know. When you actually really don't have time, and you have to kind of tone it down to what is really important, what needs to be done. Anyway, so while I was sitting there and I was really trying to listen to what was being said in the other conversation that we were supposed to have, but can't stop my mind from wandering and you know, going to places that are really lovely. So I was kind of thinking about, you know, the whole journey of my husband and I with our kids, and how far we've come. I mean, that sounds like we did it. No, we didn't. But we have walked quite some distance together, basically, and how it has been going. And you know, now our oldest is 14 and a half, our youngest just turned 5, and it's a lot of experiences in those years, right? And a lot of stuff that you learn, and a lot of stuff that you have to unlearn also, you know. There's a lot in that too. And basically you spend your whole time fine-tuning yourself, like it is with everything in life. Also with being a parent, you kind of have to fine-tune yourself the whole time. And that is something that I sometimes find really frustrating, that you basically feel like you're never done, because you keep having to fine-tune yourself to a new situation, to a new age group, to, I don't know. And sometimes you have to stretch yourself really far when your oldest one is a teenager and the youngest one is barely out of toddlerhood. And then you have a whole set of a lot of people in between that you have to serve. So anyway, let's go in with the next shade that I showed you already, and that is this one. And I'm just going to layer this on top. I have to say the pickup of both of these shades is really, really good on the brush. And basically I'm now just going to spend the time to really, really deepen up the look and to make it like a smooth transition towards that super, super dark, kind of a midnight sky blue. Well, I'm making up shade names. Okay, so that was the, this was the shade Prickly. The first one we used is Horizon. Okay, so now we have Prickly, which of course refers to these. Okay, now I'm gonna go in with the first shade again and try to blend this out a little bit more. Yeah, so I was basically just going down memory lane a little bit, and also of course the nursing, because as I already told you, I really, really like to do that. And for me it was always, it is such a miracle really when you think about it, what the body can do. Or it's not only a human body, because animals do it too, at least mammals do it too, but I feel like just talking about humans now, it is such a miracle when you think about it. There is a baby or two, depending on, you know, what you're expecting or more, and they're growing inside of you in this hidden place, and you basically have really not much control of what's going on in there, and basically have to like throw your trust in God or in whatever you believe in, that things will work out. And also in that we have quite some experience, because we actually did have some scary moments during I think 2 of my pregnancies where actually things were wrong, and you kind of have to then say, okay, what are we going to do now, you know? So, and that is so, so scary, because it's one thing if you have a child in your arms and you can actually see and judge and do and whatever, but when you basically are forced into a place of relinquishing control in so many ways, because you don't know, you don't see, you don't have, you don't feel, in the sense of holding the child, it is yeah, it is scary, but it also builds faith for me. It definitely did, you know, because for me it always felt like this, I am in the middle of the creation of a miracle. I'm in the middle of a miracle, and I am partaking in creation, and I always felt that this is so incredible. Now I know that also a few of you have struggled with this topic, so I don't want to feel like I'm rubbing into your faces that you cannot have children and I have. Okay, but you also know that I have been treated with fertility treatments for most of my life, while I was still trying to have children, and that I also know that side of it. You know, that we were incredibly blessed and successful is a different story, but it doesn't mean that it was easy. Besides the last one. The last one was natural, and that was a big surprise, because seriously, you know, when you go to a doctor's office and you ask the doctor how you got pregnant while you have already 6 children, and they look at you like, you still don't know how it works, you know? Yeah. Anyway, okay, so let's go in with the super, super dark shade, which is the shade Mirage. Mirage, okay. So that is the super dark blue. I'm going to push this deeper here in the crease, and I'm probably going to try to also like layer it a little bit further up, because as I told you, I really want this look to be dark. And then on the lid, I think I want to do this purple, or maybe even more than that, but definitely this purple. You know, this is so cool. This shade is such an amazing addition to the palette. Okay, so there is a bit of kick up in the pan here, but I think considering that this is the 3rd shade that I'm layering now, it works actually pretty well, and that is really, really cool. Now I'm dabbing it on, because that is, I think for now, the way to do it in order to get the pigment on, and then I'm just going to slightly try to blend them together, because I don't want to do damage to what I've put already underneath. Okay, so basically I'm gonna go in with this 2nd shade, but I need a different brush. shade Prickly, which was basically the second one we started to use, and I'm just going to now dab this here over the edge, because I think that is going to be the blending that I'm going to do, because I don't want stuff to be moving and shifting around too much, but still get the impact, the color impact, you know. Anyway, I still definitely need to do some blending still a little bit, but for now I think I'm going to use this technique to get where I want, you know. Alright, so anyway, let's just leave it as that for now, because otherwise this video is going to get too long and then I'm going to be in trouble trying to edit this, and a lot of people will not watch it if it is longer than like 22 minutes, 25 minutes, you know, because I can see when people leave the video, you know, I have the statistics. Okay, sweeties, because I want this to be watchable for you, and you know, though I know that some of you are like, Leorah, if you put out a video that is 2 hours long, I'm still gonna watch it, you know. I know there are some people that are like that too. Thank you, sweeties. Okay, Nocturnal is that purple, and first of all I'm going to go in without anything on my brush. It picks up nicely. It's not one of these bouncy shades, so that is great. Wow, I'm so excited about this one. Let's see how this looks. This is okay. It transfers nicely to the lid. I also definitely want to see how it looks when I'm applying it with my finger, and I kind of feel like I want to do maybe something halo-ish, you know. That could be really nice. So let's put this on both sides and then see which one to choose for the middle. Anyway, pick up really, really nice. It is very hard for me to judge right now what the shade is all about, because it is encased in so much darkness, you know. But then again, that is kind of the theme of the palette. So, okay, let us maybe, I need to see what this one looks like. Okay, so this is a very, very light, kind of a greenish shade. It feels like it also has a bit of a purplish shift, a tiny little bit, but okay, that might be even too light for now. This is a bit of a darker version. I'm just looking into the mirrors here, so this could also work. Or, oh wow, this is beautiful, but this is of course too dark, but this is also super beautiful. This is Meteor, so cool. Let's look at this one. This is Oasis. Am I already swatching the palette? Okay, now I have one more shimmer that I can try. I'm running out of hands, seriously. That is like a silver. This is Vortex. Oh, I'm really drawn to this one, sweeties. Is that okay? I think I'm going to use this one, even though those are all spectacular and beautiful. But I think because a good silver, oh, really, really. Okay, now I'm just trying to clean my hands quickly. Okay, now let us go let us go into Vortex and put that in the middle. Let's just do that. Also here the pickup on the brush is good, and now I'm just going to place it here, and then I think I'm going to just see how I'm going to get into those tiny corners here to apply it also with my finger. Okay, sweeties, this is how it looks now. I think what I'm gonna do is I will take another brush and I'm gonna go into the purple shade, and this is now like a rounded crease brush, and I'm going to just take a little bit of pigment and just push it a little bit more here into the crease, because I want the transition between the shimmer shades and the mattes to be a little bit more smooth. Kind of doing like a frame or something like that, and that is basically how the look is going to be, at least for above the eye. So the rest you know already, but I'm going to finish this of course off camera. Then I'm going to meet you here for the swatches, and of course for the review part, and for whatever I'm doing under the eyes. I'm going to of course try to use as much as possible of the palette, so I can give you a nice first impression of what I think about the palette. So it's all coming up, stay tuned. Okay, sweeties, here we are, of course, with the finished look and the finished styling, which you know already. And of course, as always, I've shown you the swatches, which I have right here. And yes, there are swatches here and here. It's just that they kind of blend really, really well into my skin tone. So, but there are shades there. So anyway, of course, you will also find them on my Leorah Cosmetics Instagram, because I'm also going to take pictures and post it there. So now let's zoom you in and let's show you a little bit closer. And then, of course, I'm also going to tell you what I did when I finished the look. Yeah, so this is how it looks, and I think because I went in with the lightest shade first, maybe that was not the smartest decision, and I'm going to tell you why. I think there is a limit to what makeup can do. Now, I piled basically 4 shades on top of each other. I went in with this one first, and then I went in with this one to deepen it up. Then I deepened it up with this one, and then basically over that, especially in the zone of the crease, I also went in with this one to basically blend this one into this one. So it's 3 or 4 shades on top of each other, and that is, I think, something that is against physics or against whatever it is. You know, maybe not the smartest decision. Maybe in order to get the best results, I should have gone in with this one first. I just felt like maybe a little bit intimidated because it is a very, very dark blue, and it is not the easiest to work with blues, especially when you have not worked with a brand before. At least, you know, I explained to you the situation that I know Lurella Cosmetics and I own Lurella Cosmetics, but not in the form of an eyeshadow palette, a traditional one. So anyway, I will definitely do that still, and then maybe in a mini review talk about this and let you know how it went. But for what it is, for what I did today, I'm very, very happy with the result. I also don't experience any creasing or any problems. Blue in general is not the easiest color to work with, I feel, but I think considering that, I think it worked super, super well, and it is really how I had it in mind, you know, to have something super dark and dramatic and kind of, you know, encapsulating or in capturing, I don't know what the word is, this palette in a look. So what did I do basically in the rest of my face? First of all, before I forget, I want to tell you that I use this as a blush and this as a highlighter all over my face, you know. So in the inner corner I do have the silver, and then under my eye I went through a journey because I was not 100% sure what I wanted to do. So I started out pushing this one here under my lower lash line, and I do have a bit of a medium brown on my waterline in a pencil form, okay. So I pushed this one right underneath and I blended it out with this one and kind of sort of blended them both together with this one. Now, while that looked really, really nice, I felt because the over eye, the over eye area is so heavy that it was too light, you know. So I felt like I want to not necessarily have the dark blue here too, because I want to have something different, but I want to have a little bit more drama. So what did I do? I left what I had done with the orange and this, I left it here at the inner third, and then I actually went in with this darker blue and then blended it out towards the outer wing with that purple again, and basically just put a hint there in order to not be overwhelming but still create a nice, I don't know, a nice thing, you know. I hope that I succeeded. I really feel like I did, because I really, really like the look and I loved how it turned out, you know. So anyway, this is what it is. I still believe that maybe according to what my feeling is, I think it would be probably nicer to use that darkest shade first, especially when you're working with this tone, you know. But with the other ones, you might also be able to create beautiful looks like this. But I think when you're working with this one, it might be wise to go in with the darkest shade, just so it is the strongest outcome, the strongest, the most dramatic color payoff, you know, because of course like this, like the way I did it today, you dilute it a little bit, but maybe that is what you want, and then that is also okay. Of course, the blending you saw, that worked really, really well. The pickup on the brush, both for mattes and shimmers, was really, really nice. I'm in love with the color scheme, super, super beautiful. There was a lot of kick up in the pans, and there was also a lot of fallout, which for me is not a big deal because I'm always doing this part of my face last, and also I am a pretty messy worker when it comes to makeup, because I'm just not careful, you know? So that is that, but you might want to consider that. Besides that, these two shades might throw you off because they might look very, very similar, but this one is more like a shimmer, and this is more like a duochromy topper shade, you know, which I think could also be super, super nice if you would do, for example, a very, very traditional smoky eye, like a complete sexy smoky eye with this, just with this, and then have this as a topper shade just on the lid on top of that. Could be so, so cool, you know? Anyway, yeah, so the way they swatched was super, super nice. Also really, really pretty, good color payoff, really, really smooth. They felt super velvety to the touch. No complaints here. Seriously beautiful. Also, maybe now you can see how beautiful that purple is, because on the eyes it does not have that much space to shine, but here, seriously, you know, it is beautiful. Absolutely stunning color scheme. I think they absolutely rocked it and nailed it and whatever with this palette, with the color scheme. Also, of course, the outer packaging is so on theme, really, really nice, and what you see here is what you get in here, and I love that. You know, I absolutely love this, and I'm so glad that I got to try this, you know. And also, as you know, I really, really like it when I can use also shades from the palette for my face, because why not? Basically, when you're buying a blush, it's basically the same like buying an eyeshadow, you know, plus minus, but it is more or less the same. And the same goes, of course, for the shimmer shades, because it is really, really cute. Okay, now let's also talk about this one here. This is in the shade Goals, and I don't think I've ever had anything like this. Now, I have experimented with having glitter on my lips, but I have to say that in my experience with what I had before and what I've tried before, it has always been that it started to become really, really unpleasant. It started to become grainy and separating and really, really unpleasant. And with this one, I thought at the very beginning that it would be like that when it started to dry down a little bit, because you can also have this super, super sheer. I built it up, okay? But it is absolutely not unpleasant. It is super, super nice and smooth. It does not crack or does not separate. I have this on for now maybe 20 minutes or so, and I feel like this is beautiful. Now, I of course used a lip liner to just have a little bit depth like around it, but besides that, it is just so beautiful just the way it is, and I love it. And everything that sparkles and shines and makes an impact and is kind of really, really special, it's for me, you know. And plus, of course, you can use this with all kinds of colors of lip liners. Just imagine you could also do this with a red liner, or you can put it on top of a matte liquid lipstick or something like this, you know. It just sheer it out and have it just as an accent instead of a feature on its own. So yeah, anyway, like I already said, I really, really like the lip products from Lurella Cosmetics, and the other one that I have is a more traditional one, a nude color. Again, I think it's called Single, and that is also very, very beautiful. So yeah, I'm very grateful that they're throwing in those lip products because I love them. Okay, keep throwing them, sweetie. Anyway, so that is what it is. I hope you found this video helpful. I hope you had a good time hanging out with me. Of course, if you're new here and you have not done so, then please subscribe to my channel. Check out my social media, check out my description box with all my discount codes, with all my makeup that I'm wearing on my face today, and of course come back for my next video, which is going to be super soon. And up until then, definitely go ahead and sparkle. Hugs and kisses. Bye.